With us today is a Publish America author by the name of Juanita Hargrove, but you're not known generally as Juanita.
Just Nita.
Anita Hargrove. What a nice name. Anita wrote three books. Um, One of the books is titled She Wrote of Them. The other title is Black Cat Madness. And the third one is Thoughts of She. That is more the introspective of the three books. The other two are more, so to speak, non-fictional fiction. Funny books, funny stories. Whereas this title is the more overarching book that explains the storyteller.
Correct.
Who is the storyteller?
The storyteller is she, and she can be anyone you want her to be.
She has a lot of traits, histories, experiences that you recognize, doesn't she?
I do, strongly. I recognize that character.
Is
And
it autobiographical?
to a certain extent.
Tell us about the books. What's it about?
Thoughts of She is comprised of 13 short stories, and it gives a narrative of the different characters that she's come upon in her life, some sadness and some comedy and some spirituality, all wrapped up into one.
You're saying that as if that is one moment you decide to write that, and the next moment it's suddenly done. That's a long process, isn't it?
It was, but as a writer, I did that in bits and pieces. The thought processes, as they came along, I would jot them down on pieces of paper, have them on a thumb drive, a CD-ROM, and in the end, I was able to put them all together. It was in no particular order that I put the stories, and that's how it came about. And I didn't know that it was going to be 13 short stories. That's just what I came up with.
Would you say that your book is all over the house,
It's all over the place.
and you dare to call your children raccoons?
I did. Because, they can find stuff. Raccoons can find stuff. They're going to tear it up. They're going to eat, and that's what they do.
How old are your children?
At present, they're 17. She'll be 18 in a few weeks, and then he'll be 15 in February.
Man, she's going to leave the house pretty soon, isn't she?
Can't leave. She's not allowed.
She can never leave, can she?
No. Well, she'll have to leave eventually because that moodiness is coming into effect nowadays. So then I have to check her a little bit. And I know I'm going to have to let her go, but I'm just going to do that process slowly.
Your books are about the funny side of life. You make it a point to stress the funny side of life. Let's laugh. Let's love.
Mm-hmm.
They're also about the absence of love, the leave of love. And they're about death. They're about saying goodbye. What's the relationship there?
We have people in our life that we love, and I love to laugh. That's just a part of who I am, who makes me the person that I am. But I've had some, especially my grandmother, who was just an extremely important part of my life. She's no longer with us, so that has affected me in a very positive way, not in a negative way at all. But that just rounds up life. And to live to be a at that title, grandmother, is saying a lot. So throughout life, you have, your struggles, you have your trials and your tribulations, and in between there, you have to deal with spirituality, which should always be the forefront, and lots of laughter. And you have people in your family, no matter if they mean to or not, it's going to be a funny story behind it. I'm going to make a funny story behind it anyway.
What happened to those grandmothers, those porches, those grandfathers? People don't live as much around their grandparents anymore as they used to.
That is true. And then now, in some situations, the grandmother is not that much older than the daughter and the grandchild. And we have become so modern, and with modern technology, we haven't got back to, the times of just sitting on the porch all day in the summer, and running to get your snacks before they started telling their stories. And we knew some of it was true and some of it wasn't, but they were just good stories that you wanted to hear. And I wanted to hear them over and over and over again. And then, I would put my own twist on it and, They would know everybody who drove up and down the street, and they talked about everybody who drove and walked up and down the street. And they would make it funny, or I would add something funny to it. And Big Mom loved to hear me, talk about people. It just made her laugh.
Your whole career, from being a part of the military, you oversee a department in a military hospital. You are a realtor. You are an author of 3 books, no less. Your whole career, your whole life story is about can do.
Yes.
Your book is not, or is it?
I just want to get back to people having that warm and fuzzy. I want people to be able to relate, and it doesn't matter your nationality, your background. People can relate. I want people to be able to relate to the stories. If it didn't happen to them themselves, they know someone that it happened to.
Who is Big Mama?
That's my father's mother. She's like the queen. She made me who I am today. Everybody just depended on Big Mama. And it's so funny, just the name Big Mama comes back, it's generational. And what she told me, because I used to say, well, why is that Big Mama? And then my great-grandmother was Big Mama, and what she told me was back in slavery, everybody was there on the plantation together. And this is just from my family, how they told me. They were there together. So that's how they differentiated. That's the older one was the Big Mama, the biggest mama. She wasn't so much big in body size, but that was it. Not don't go to Mama, go to Big Mama. I mean, she's the oldest. She's the matriarch.
How about that? Would your Big Mama, your grandmother, she passed away a few years ago.
Correct.
Do you think, would it surprise her, does it surprise you to know that the majority of writers today is female?
It probably would. It would surprise her. It doesn't surprise me. Because she's from a totally generation than I am. She was more wife. She worked, but she was more wife where they cooked every day. And they cooked every Sunday. And by the time you got up, breakfast was ready. And I had no certain time I had to be up.
Are you surprised to know that there are more female authors than male authors?
No, I don't. I'm not surprised.
Why not?
Because we have more of a voice now, especially in this generation, whereas women did in the generation of my grandmother and my great-grandmother.
Are you surprised to know that, we're not going to disclose your age here, but it's pretty close to almost 30, that the vast majority of authors who spring up now, these past few years, is between 40 and 50 years old?
I can believe that. Because we're at a time in our life where either our children are grown, and some of us at this age are grandmothers. So we're at a time where either we figured out that this was what was in us the whole time, and we're ready to step out on it. And I know that's for me in my case. Because I don't think at 20, 30, I wouldn't have been able to write what I tell about because I had not lived long enough then. At this age, you should be at a level of maturity, and as Big Mama would say, you done gone through some things. That's how she would say, you done went through some things. And at this age, you should have, whether they've been good experiences, bad experiences, and you should have learned from them. But as an author and as artists, period, and if you're stepping out at this time, it's just your time. And I know for me, that's how I can say it's my time. It wasn't my time, 20 years ago, at age 26.
What do you say to the next generation?
Step out on faith and never be afraid to follow your heart, because everybody is born with a gift. I think people are afraid to step out and figure out what that gift is, or they're afraid of, oh, somebody's not going to believe me, I'm not going to be able to do it. Everybody is born with a gift, and I tell my children, whatever your gift is, whatever you want to do, step out on faith. Don't let people discourage you. So I always tell my children, and even people that I talk to, I ask people, what is it that you really want to do? What is it that you're good at? And they tell me, well, that's your gift. Step out on faith. You only get one shot at life. And why waste it?
The book is Thoughts of She by Juanita Hargrove. Thank you.
Thank you.